David, extraordinary scenes at the Ribbonwood Centre down in Dapto on Wednesday, just to bring us up to speed.
My word.
But basically, I think there was possibly 50, 60 people
50, there? Yeah, about that. And I guess the lead up to that, and I guess after last Saturday's program, where we outlined, I guess, our grievances with Stephen Jones to the point where we've initiated some defamation action against Stephen Jones.
Now, for those people who don't know, particularly those people who live in Dapto, there were some today who don't know, Stephen Jones is actually the Member of Parliament for Throsby, which incorporates Dapto. And I did speak to a wonderful lady who expressed the view that he was actually the absent member. Yes. And there seemed to be people who just didn't know him very well out on the street. But just keep going. Stephen Jones, you had a meeting with him on Wednesday to discuss this defamation.
Yes, we did, and I guess from last Saturday's program where I read out most of that defamation letter, we did have a response from Stephen Jones's office on Tuesday afternoon of last week, inviting us to a meeting to discuss the defamation letter.
But you asked for a meeting first, didn't you?
We did ask for in the defamation letter. We actually asked for a meeting on Wednesday, the 27th of February. We got a response from Stephen Jones's office almost on close of business on Tuesday for a meeting the next day, and the email from Stephen Jones from his office clearly stated that it would be he and Sharon Bird who would be the attendees at that meeting.
Was that a public meeting or a private meeting? Did they make that clear?
They made it very clear to us in follow-up emails that Sharon Bird and Stephen Jones had not agreed that this was going to be a public meeting. And I believe that's contrary to what Stephen Jones had said on an ABC radio interview yesterday.
Yeah, because in fact, VOF is asking for a public debate, aren't they, with Stephen Jones and Sharon Bird about this very issue. And they have not confirmed whether they will participate in that debate at this stage.
Yeah, indeed. I think there needs to be some enlightenment and some education of our local members about the whole action of Trio Capital and what they should be doing as our members representing their constituents.
Tell us what happened when you turned up. This is extraordinary. I've never heard of this before. In too many years I'd like to remember in public life. Tell me what happened.
Yes, well, contrary to what the extension of a meeting invite from Stephen Jones's office on Tuesday, when we turned up, and there was about 50 people, and we might add that almost all of those people who attended are people who who are going to be involved in the defamation action against Stephen Jones. So there were a number of defamation letters that were actually left with Stephen Jones on that day. And when we arrived, we actually had 4 suited people from the Australian Securities and Investment Commission.
Now, were you told that there was going to be people from ASIC at that meeting?
No.
Anyway?
No, absolutely not. And we have the email record to indicate that.
And no phone call to say, look, Dave, we've got 4 highly paid public servants here. Is that okay?
No, none of that. And what we've seen is the extraordinary scene of a Member of Parliament and also Sharon Bird in attendance and whatever counsel Sharon may have given Stephen not to pull this political stunt, because it can't be seen as anything other than that. We actually now have a government instrument, which is the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, or otherwise known as ASIC. We now see the extraordinary situation of the politicising of ASIC in a defamation action that his constituents are taken against Stephen Jones.
Now, the person who seemed to be representing ASIC at the meeting, I did ask them to leave because it was a private meeting. It was to do with defamation, nothing to do with a government body. And I said, look, what are you doing here? And he replied, I'm here to tell people that you haven't, that's me, haven't been telling them the truth, and you know that it's not the truth.
Are they aware of the document?
Oh, well, that's their documents. It's got their barcodes on them. But I'll have to just add one small thing before you start your report, David. I did ask for his card very politely. Said, look, I need your details because I'm going to sue you for defamation. And he shakily handed it over, and it said Chris Sanundra, who was described on his card as Chief Executive Leader, which I did notice that it was a tautology on 3 accounts. But
that or Senior Executive Leader, but the tautology is exactly the same.
Senior Executive Leader, and I didn't get to speak to the Junior Executive Leader, but quite extraordinary that he will forward so politically and in such a crude fashion, say I'm here to let people know that you've been not telling the truth, and then adding, and you know you haven't been. I mean, this is a highly paid public servant who should be out catching crooks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could have pointed out to him there's actually no financial criminals of any large note in DAPTO. They're all in Wall Street, Thailand and Hong Kong in regard to TRIO.
Correct.
Anyway, Dave, don't let me interrupt. Go ahead with your report.
Well, I think just on that, just to add, Paul, it wasn't, I mean, you had indicated to them, the purpose of the meeting. We actually asked Sharon Bird and Stephen Jones that it was inappropriate for them. I actually said it was inappropriate for them to actually be in the meeting. ASIC to be directed out of the meeting, and we would come back into the meeting. Now, we stood around to about 5 o'clock, no discussion with us, no courtesy extended to us to say that we stick to the agenda of what we meant to be there, which is the defamation.
Right, go ahead.
And why 50 people also turned up with that hope.
Yeah. Well, if...
meeting with their federal representatives.
If Stephen Jones thinks that using that sort of stunt, if it were to be used as a stunt to intimidate us, to get us to back off, or to be spun some particular angle of their message, well, then they're wrong. Because what it has done is it's definitely inflamed the anger, the disappointment, everything associated with why we don't believe we've been properly represented by either Sharon Bird or Stephen Jones. They've got another message coming.
This is exactly what happened when Paul started standing up for me very early on in the matters when we formed Wollongong Against Corruption. So many people tried to get other people on the side to say, oh, look, he's not telling you the truth. Oh, he's not this, that. In the end...
And we got death threats.
The death threats...
from members of the ALP. But anyway...
Paul, isn't that... If anyone were to watch when you... That's the ALP way.
It is, yeah.
Ignore the message... attack the messenger, and you said that with any of the issues that have plagued the government over many years now, if people watch the news every night and see how they actually conduct and what they do to try and attack the messenger, it's nothing but a disgrace.
Can I just say this before you do start? I've interrupted you 5 times now, but really, this is really a message to Stephen Jones. I knew Stephen Jones when he was a student at Wollongong University. He used to come to the picket lines that we had at Hoyts. Look, Stephen, change your advisors quickly. Change them quicker than you change your socks, because they're not working for you. Gina Manarino is not giving you good advice, and whoever else may be, it's not good advice. That kind of old ALP politics is over. Yep. It's finished. It's gone. People can't stomach it anymore. They're up to it. They know what's on. They're on to it, right?
Especially in this case. They're wanting to be represented, and that's exactly what the
I think we've given up
victims of financial fraud wanted.